Hello everybody and welcome back to the Dragon's Library. So today we are going to be talking about Killer Frequency. Now this game was released on Steam in 2023, June 1st. Originally, however, it was apparently made and released on Game Jolt for Adventure Game Jam or whatever as part of like a challenge, and it is a game that was made in 2 weeks. Apparently the original game was made in 2 weeks. This new version was fully revamped with more callers, a new storyline, new gameplay elements. So this one actually had a lot more work done, but apparently the base version of this game was released in 2 weeks. I found that out after I played it, and I have to say, it may be one of the most interesting and fun horror games I've played in a long time. So, with all that said and done, let's get into it. The basic premise of this game is that you are Forrest Nash, a radio talk show host working the night shift with your producer Peggy at the local radio station of Gallows Creek, 189.16 The Scream. You're about to do a Catch That Scream segment when, while broadcasting your midnight show, the 911 operator and police dispatcher for the town calls with horrible news. The sheriff is dead, and the deputy is out cold in a cell. As she goes to free the deputy and try and figure out what's going on while keeping in communication with you, she hears whistling and the strange masked figure of the Whistling Man, a serial killer who is long thought dead by the town from the 50s. With your help, she manages to escape, either with or without the deputy, depending on how well you guide her. While in the car, she tells you she's rerouted all 911 calls to your station. You, as Forrest Nash, must now take over as 911 operator while she goes to the next town over to get officers to help put an end to all this. All the external lines that are not local calls have been cut, so you can only call into the town itself, which means you are currently the only help for all the victims of this masked whistling killer. So yeah, it's a pretty cool premise. You're in the 80s, you're running a radio show, and you gotta guide people through what is essentially their horror movie. You're an outsider to the town and have to scout around the station for clues on various things about the town and how to help the people around you. Luckily, you have Peggy there to give you advice. Now, this game is fairly light on gameplay. There isn't a lot here. It's very much a horror puzzle adventure game. I would say it's very much a logic puzzle game in the sense where you have to put together different details and information from the clues you find in order to guide people through the route outcome. Most of your gameplay will ensue of trying to find objects in the level to open the next path forward and talking with people through pre-selected options that call into your radio station in order to keep them safe. A lot of times they're going to ask you what to do and you're going to have to pay attention and make sure you don't follow their instructions blindly because they're panicking. The reason I like this game is because it has a very good sense of style. You go and are essentially this outsider who doesn't know about the town, which is good for the player's immersion. And you have very little control over like what's happening. All you can do is keep track of information and try and make sure everyone makes it out alive. And your choices do affect a lot of people's lives. I was able to get through this game with only one death, and it's because I made a decision based on information, and I didn't feel like I was tricked. I guess we're moving on to the puzzle section now, so I will just say it. I like these puzzles. They start off very simple, like do you want to bring a baton or a taser or something like that. I chose taser. Oh look, the deputy gets to survive. But as you go forward, you get things like, okay, who would be best for this job? And you have to use the friend sheet of one of the interns from your station. Now, the game is not perfect. This is very much a project made by a small team. There are basically no other character models in the game. The only person you will ever see is Peggy, who is behind tinted glass, and if you get close enough, you can see that her model might be physically rigged, like she can move her arms around and make gestures at you through the glass, but it's tinted, and she's essentially just a blank gray mannequin model. The graphics are pretty low, but they focus on pretty good voice acting, trying to replicate that old-style horror vibe of like old 80s movies like Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween, which is really good. I like it. I think it does a really good job of emulating those movies. In fact, you're even able to manipulate things in the world, move around stuff around. Not all of it does gameplay, but you also have things like the map or pin boards and clue boards that you can move pieces around in order to arrange your thoughts. And that was actually really good. I actually really liked moving around different news articles to try and get a feel. It's better than just letting you read a bunch of articles and saying, okay, choose the one. It's like, no, try and piece them together, put together clues, try and figure out what's going on, why the killer's here, what they're planning, are they a ghost, are they alive, what's the deal? And as you walk through the game, the mystery of why this is all happening is slowly unfolding, connecting the whistling man with a tragedy from several years prior to strange group of friends, something happening in the woods, secrets and conspiracies, and some really, really rich guy trying to cover something up. And it's all very interesting and very engaging. I would say I don't think it has a lot of replay value, but not all games need that. Killer Frequency is a pretty cheap game, and I managed to finish it in a 5-hour stream while screwing around a lot and restarting once or twice because I think I thought I had soft-locked myself, but I hadn't actually. It was just a mistake on my part. So the game is really short and fairly priced. It's $25. I wouldn't say it's super cheap, but it is within indie game pricing. And I'd say the voice acting and the models are definitely good enough to make it worth it. It has a lot of fun, and I enjoyed playing it. In addition, I would like to talk more about the logic puzzles since they're the main gameplay element. However, I don't want to talk about those too much because some of them are ones you need to go into blind in order for them to work best. There are several of them based around the player needing to pay attention to background details or information from previous calls in order to figure out what's going on or to guess the situation from only the audio. And I'm not going to spoil those. However, I will say the game is very clever and very good at escalating the logic puzzles so you don't get bored with them. I personally had a lot of fun with this game. So let's get into the conclusion. In conclusion, do I think you should buy Killer Frequency? Yeah. I personally think if you enjoy horror games or puzzle games, you'll get a kick out of this one. It has this very cheesy 80s aesthetic, so if you like that, you might really enjoy it. It currently has an overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam. And in general, it's a nice, fun snack of a game, which is really, really nice compared to those long games like Tears of the Kingdom or that new Final Fantasy game that just came out, where you can just play it in an afternoon one day when you want to do, have some fun. Maybe you can replay it and let friends make all the decisions while you sit there giggling as they do stupid things. It's that kind of game, and quite frankly, I think more people should support this team. Team 7 Digital also published another game that I reviewed this year called Dredge. So if you like, smaller indie games, that's another cool one. That's more of a Lovecraftian horror aside from a slasher thing, but still also very good. They didn't make that one, they published that one though. So since I would suggest you buy this, I'm going to go ahead and give this game a rating of 9 out of 10. I do think it is pretty short, which can be both a good and a bad thing. I think it might be a little overpriced at $25. I think $20 would probably be a better deal for a game that you can complete in 5 hours. There's literally an achievement for speed running through it in 4.5 hours, and I was very close to getting it in that time if I had saved all the people. So while I think it is a good game and well made, it is a little hard to recommend a game for $25 that'll take you around 5 hours to play it the first time, and you really only get full value if you're going to replay it. However, I do think it's good to support indie teams. This is a really original concept, and I just had a lot of fun with it, so yeah. Moving on from there, we have the announcements. Now, I was originally going to review The Fourth Wing today, and I was planning on doing something else this week, but my thumb has been killing me because apparently I have tendonitis there. Not going to describe anymore. But basically, I've been a little busy, so still only getting one review out this week. Hopefully next week I'll be back to 2. Don't quote me on that or anything. But yes, I'm working on getting a physical copy of The Fourth Wing so I can make sure I get all the names correct, since I like to post a additional physical written review on Goodreads. So if you ever want to, look me up on Goodreads, see what other books I recommend, that's a good place to do. There's a link in the description. In addition to that, I am going to be reviewing that Kong Skull Island show soon. The Dragon Prince is going to be coming out pretty soon as well, so look forward to both of those reviews sometimes in the future. Finally, because movies have decided to suck for me right now, And I'm really not interested in seeing a Pixar love story with Elemental. I know I should give it a chance, but it's just like not my thing. So I'm gonna review Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I'll go see it sometime in the next week or so, and I'll get a review out for it. I'm not hopeful for this. They should let Harrison Ford rest. I'm just gonna say that now. Finally, one last thing. I usually stream at 7:30 Tuesdays and Thursdays. Currently, it's Final Fantasy 16. However, I will not be streaming this coming week. I'm supposed to not use my thumb so much, so I can't really play games that need a controller, and action RPGs for me do need a controller. It's on the PlayStation. I could try and plug in a mouse and keyboard to it, but I can't right now. My thumb is like killing me whenever I try and play for like an hour, and trying to do a 2-hour stream is just too much of a pain. So hopefully I will feel better, not this coming week, but the week after, and I should be able to go back to that. If not, it might be 2 or 3 weeks before I can catch up with streaming again. With all that said and done, let's move on to the end card. Hey, you made it to the end card. We have the playlist of all the stuff, all the reviews from this year. There's a review YouTube recommends, or some video YouTube recommends. Down here's the subscribe button. Click it, go to my channel, subscribe. It means a lot to me, seriously. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.